Traveling with your tech. Today, tech in the airplane. Hello, my name's Chet Davis, otherwise known as your Technology Tutor. Welcome to Tech for Experts and Authors, otherwise known as Tech Talk with Chet. Say that 5 times fast. This week, our program is focusing on tech and travel. So the first day talked about planning and packing with your technology. Yesterday's program, we focused on powering your technology on the go. A little bit of overlap with that today, but today we're focusing on using your technology on the airplane. I want to focus on a couple different things. One, first is packing and getting on the plane. Secondly, using your device while you're on the airplane. Some gadgets that I like to have with me and recommend you might consider as well. First of all, packing. Make sure you read the specific airline, the specific airport you're departing from, and the specific airport or airports you're landing in, even if you're connecting flights, and making sure that you comply with the latest regulations. As you may know, there have been some changes for those flights who are bound for the United States from certain areas, in particular in the Middle East, and what customers can take on as far as carry-on luggage. They're welcome to check technology in their luggage, but there are stipulations or modifications as far as what you can bring on the flight. That's for those passengers who were inbound to an airport in the United States of America from certain other countries. And that may change. So when you're watching this episode, it's important to just double check that. And an easy way, to be honest with you, is to call the airline, but also visit the airline's website, and they'll talk about technology on the plane. But for most of us, bringing technology on an airplane is not an issue. Sometimes I'm not a fun person to be behind at the airport in the TSA, the Transportation Security Administration, is getting on the airplane. I remember one time, I had 2 different computers, one a laptop, one a dedicated video editing computer, and 3 different cameras with me in addition to my iPhone and, a small host of batteries, of cables, etc. But I'm good about taking them out. That's one thing to be aware of. It's advisable that if you have your batteries, if you have an extra battery, like yesterday in the program we talked about these little kind of power banks, if you want to bring it extra for your smartphone, have that and the cables in a Ziploc bag. It's just easier to take them out and put them on the belt. It's easier for security if they wanted to do or needed to do an inspection of your luggage. They could take them out without having to shuffle through your luggage. Depending on the airport, generally speaking, I do take my laptops, iPad, etc. out of the bag and put it in a separate container. And as you're doing that, especially in airports maybe that you don't travel to regularly, watch very carefully. In fact, like if I'm putting my computer or my expensive camera through on the security belt, it's the last thing I will put through in the last tub just before I walk through, and I'll watch it very carefully. You don't want to create a situation where someone maybe is tempted to lift with 5 fingers some expensive piece of technology that you're bringing with you. So be thoughtful, be careful about that. There also is an issue in some airports, less so nowadays, but there have been at times issues with people packing in their checked luggage certain things, expensive valuables, and having, shall we say, disreputable individuals behind the walls in the luggage, probably sometimes in security, who would go through people's luggage and take out things of great value. So important just to be aware of those. I choose to take them on board with me for 2 reasons. 1, I feel like it's better to watch it. 2, I know it's not going to be tossed around and potentially damaged. And 3, it's there when I land, and usually I need my technology with me. Not only do I want it, but I need it, especially if I'm teaching a workshop or doing some other kind of work. So let's say you're on the plane. The other thing to be aware of is sometimes batteries can be an issue. Check the website, but most batteries are fine if you put them in a Ziploc bag if you're bringing extra batteries on board, as long as they meet airline and safety specifications. So once you're on board the plane, just a couple things I recommend to take with you. Definitely bring your USB cable and bring your power block. So if you're For example, on the iPhone, I have my Apple certified charger with the USB-A to Lightning cable. As I talked about in yesterday's program, I always put it in my checked on luggage, so if I'm delayed at an airport, I will have it with me. But also it's important because you may find that this will power your device while in flight. If you're on a long flight, the longest series of flights I've ever been on was last year, traveling San Francisco through Seattle, through Tokyo, and ended up in Bangkok, a total of, I think it was 21 hours in length. Long trip, but well worth it. And it's something you want to have with you. And what I wanted to highlight is some of the airplanes, especially those long-distance international flights, do now have the ability to charge your device while in flight. In fact, let me go ahead and show you this website here. If we take a look, this is a company called SeatGuru, SeatGuru.com, SeatGuru.com. And you may know, if you have an upcoming flight, what you can do is you can search for that particular flight and find that particular airline, and it will show you the seat layout, and they'll talk about the best seats, the most comfortable seats. It's a free service website. You can sign up for a premium account, but I use just the free service. And how it relates specifically to what we're talking about today is this right here. This is a photo of an airline's power ports. So you can see there are USB ports that you can plug right into while you're seated on the plane. During in-flight, you can charge and use an iPhone, your other brand of smartphone, Windows Phone, Android phone, your iPad or other tablet that is powered by USB. Now, a quick mention here is that we cannot use, at least at the time of this recording, we cannot use our mobile phones, iPhones, smartphones, while in flight. There have been some conversations back and forth about whether that may change. Last I heard, it's not going to change. Some people say it's not so much hampering the communication between the cockpit and the tower, but it's more for the protection of the customer experience on a plane. We've all been around people who are very, very loud when they're on a conversation on a smartphone. Can you imagine being on a 2 or 4 or 21-hour flight and having somebody yelling at their significant other on the other end of the line? So some people say that's the other protection thing. But right now what we have to do is put the phone into airplane mode, and I just want to show you that really quickly here. So let me connect my smartphone. Okay, my phone's connected. Let's go ahead and go into settings. So here's what I'll do. Go ahead and go into airplane mode and turn on airplane mode. What airplane mode does, it cuts all external communication from your device. Okay, now this is specific to the iPhone. If you're on an Android phone, there is another option. There is an airplane mode as well that you can enable. But here's the cool thing. By having it in airplane mode, it accesses a variety of other apps. So I can play games that don't require an internet connection. I can view photos that I've captured recently. There's lots of different options on the device. But here's a cool trick. You can have airplane mode enabled and then come back and turn on your Wi-Fi. Now, by turning on Wi-Fi, what it enables you to do is this. It turns off the cellular connection, but still allows you to connect to a Wi-Fi network that may be on the airplane. A number of airplanes have Wi-Fi service, so you can receive free service on some of the airplane apps. You can also pay for service if you want to actually connect to the internet, and you can communicate with folks back home via email, via text messaging, if you're using something like iMessage on your iOS device, different functions like that. It'll also access Bluetooth and enable Bluetooth, so it'll connect to your smartwatch, to your Apple Watch, and to some other devices and functions. For example, if you're using Bluetooth wireless headsets. So different functions that are open to you, so you can turn off the cellular functions, so you are abiding by the rules not to use your phone as a phone, but you can still use it as a portable handheld device. Now, while you're on that airplane, take a look at this. The website SeatGuru, the benefit, why I wanted to show you this, is right here. So you can see this is a specific airlines. This is for Delta Airlines, and it is a particular model. It is the Airbus model A330-200. And different airlines may outfit their airplanes differently with different features and benefits and different luxuries, amenities. Now what we have here is certainly you can tell we have a first class section over here. But as I hover over a seat, check this out. What's really cool is it will show me what that seat has. So you can see it has on-demand television, and it also has AC power, meaning I can take my general power plug. I can even plug in my laptop. I can plug in my smartphone, my iPhone. I can plug in my iPad. Now, I do need to put a disclaimer out here that some of the larger laptops, for example, a 15-inch MacBook Pro, a 17-inch laptop from a number of different manufacturers, generally requires more amperage and may not charge well, may not charge fully while in flight connected to these AC powers. It is a modest amount of power, but it is certainly enough power to charge your smartphone and your iPad. I speak not hypothetically, but from direct experience. I've used them in flight, and it's really, really useful. Now, something important to note here. Check out as I scroll through here, you see that these have both on-demand TV and they have AC power. But when I come to this final, the back section of the airplane, you can see there is no power. So why I wanted to highlight this and show this to you, for that flight you're planning, maybe it's an international flight this coming summer or next fall, next year, you want to check out the aircraft on SeatGuru.com and make sure that the seats you're reserving have access to AC power or USB power if you want to make sure you have the ability to power and connect your devices, right? Very, very cool. All right. The other thing I wanted to recommend you bring with you, in addition to the little power bank, especially if your plane does not have onboard power, is I do recommend this little adapter. And this is what we call a headphone splitter, or a Y adapter. We used to call it that, and it's much prettier than they used to be. You can also get these because it actually looks like a letter Y. There's one cable at the bottom and then two that come out on the top. And what this enables you to do is, if you're traveling with someone and you both want to watch a movie, maybe you've downloaded a movie in advance on your iPhone, on your Android phone, maybe on your tablet, on your iPad. And by the way, that's a great planning tip, is make sure you download some content before your flight, whether it's books on tape, maybe it's podcasts, your favorite television programs, or even maybe it's time to catch up on your Game of Thrones season 4 or whatever it is, right? You can download that in advance. Now, the benefit of having this Y adapter is that you both can take your headphones and you both can plug into the same device. So you could put that on the tray, on your seat tray, and have access to it, so you're both watching the same screen and you're both listening in private. So very, very useful. I did that with my youngest son when we traveled last summer. The other thing to be aware of is there's a variety of different apps. Depending on the airline that you're flying with, I do recommend you do a quick check in the App Store. So, for example, here's a look at the different apps that I have downloaded and are actually now on my iPhone. And you can see I've put them into a folder, and this folder is appropriately called Airlines. And I've got a couple different apps here. Why this is of a great advantage, because it does allow you oftentimes to load your boarding pass electronically in the app. And so when you go to board your plane, instead of having to worry about printing out your boarding pass, you can just take your smartphone with you, open up the app, open up that particular boarding pass, and scan that right where you check on to get on board the flight. I even have those apps on my Apple Watch, and I've used that once to get on board a flight because the QR code, the scannable, readable image actually was tied directly to me and my seat on the plane and got me on. So the other strong benefit is that some of these apps do contain access to entertainment on board. I know one in particular is the Southwest app. And the cool thing about that is you can open that up on your iPad, and it provides you with all kinds of flight information, connecting flight information, but it also gives you access to onboard entertainment. So there's television programs and there's even movies, some that were free and some that were premium, and that's right inside the airline app. So I definitely recommend downloading the specific app for the airline you'll be traveling on, and make sure you logged into that and have that ready to use while you're on board your flight. So a bunch of tips for you for flying with your technology. I'm a person who has traveled a lot for business as well as pleasure. I still love traveling. I love flying. And I think you have a sense that I love my technology. And they can be a perfect pair. In fact, I think that traveling with your smartphone is like traveling with your own personal digital assistant. That's it for today's program. Tomorrow we're going to focus on traveling with your technology in your car and some thoughts about maybe traveling on a train as well. And then we'll wrap it up on Friday with technology in your hotel or at the resort. Chet Davis, your technology tutor. Thanks for tuning in today. Thanks for joining me. I look forward to the next time we connect.